Hey, Anonymous, critics, SPs, people of free speech. Thank you for coming by Magoo44. I appreciate it, Tory Magoo44. And good job on the picket. It was excellent. I've been reading some really good things. There's a lot of exciting things happening all over the world. It's really good. And I want to show you my hands. Here's that's my bad hand. This is my good hand. And here's in comparison. Ow! Ooey! Not too good, huh? It's kind of, if anybody has any tips on bruises, send them to me. It hurts, ow. But they said, my doctor really didn't know much about it. She said, just keep it up above my heart. So I'm working on that. And ice it twice a day. That's what she said. That's it. But there you go. That's my hand. And here's Mr. Anonymous. I know everybody's been asking about him. He's very proud of everyone. Good job. He was relaxing in the sun while we were picketing. He's guarding the house here. And with the guard, of course. But also something else exciting happened. Someone who came to picket with us brought along Mr. Anonymous. I thought you guys thought that we had the whole crew, but here's Mr. Anonymous. And he is the head of security. So, no, I'm sorry, he's not the head of security. The other guy's the head of security. He's the head of investigations. So you know how Scientology is, they have their head of investigation. Well, this is our head of investigation. This guy's going to be cruising around. You know how mice are. They can get in and out of all kinds of different places. And he has already. And he comes back, right? And you tell me little things. Check out his whiskers. He's got really cool whiskers. And very cool ears. So anyway, that's the head of investigation. Got a lot of plans with him. So anyway, Mr. Anonymous has got a little question for us today, though. So, okay, so what is it? All right, so what happens with Scientologists when we're picketing? That's a very good question, Mr. Anonymous. What does happen to Scientologists while we're picketing? Thank you for bringing that up. All right, here's the deal. When I was in Scientology, they used to send me out to go handle the critics that were outside. So I was one of the people that would go out and talk to them. Now, obviously, you've seen the videos of the people, what are your crimes, what are your overits? I wasn't one of those people. I would just go out and talk to them. And I used to come back. I had a lot of good success with it. And they would say, what did you do? And I'd say, I just talk to them. They're people. You know what I mean? And that's really all they are. That's how they are in. That's how they are out. They're mostly just people, right? And if you treat people like people, they respond differently. I'll tell you a really funny story. I was up in Sacramento, and I went to see the governor, actually, about something altogether different. And on the way home, I got my hair cut, and they washed it. And I said, I don't have time to get it dried and everything because I've got to get on a plane. But I walked by the mission, the Scientology mission, and I went inside, and they were all hiding inside. Everybody was like really terrified, and I'm like, what's going on? And I had seen these two guys outside. One had a sign, one had a little Xenu doll. This was in the 90s. And so I'm like, what's going on? What's happening? And they're like, the critics are outside. And I mean, this is 2 critics, okay? It's not 4, it's 2. Two critics are outside. And they're like, the critics are outside. And you have to remember, Xenu is a top secret word for them. Even though it's all over the world and it's a household name, in their Truman Show, it's still a top secret word, I'm sure, right? And it was definitely then. It wasn't all over the net. It still, I'm sure, is. But anyway, they were like terrified, right? And so this one guy knew me, and he goes, Tori's here. She can help us. And I said, all right, what do you need? And he said, could you go out and talk to the critics? And I said, yeah, sure. So I walk outside. And this is a funny thing because I wrote this up to Mike Rinder before I left Scientology that this was my big successful action in PR. I walk outside and I'm walking along. This guy, he's got his picket sign. The other guy's got the Xenu doll, and I'm walking along and I'm like, what do you know about Scientology? What are you here for? And he's a young guy and he's just like, I'm not talking to you kind of thing. And he's walking along, he's marching along, he's real serious, right? And I can look on the other side of him, like let's say he's here. On the other side of him is a window, the mission window, right? And I can see in it, and I can see my hair. And so I start going, how do you like my hair? Do you think I got it cut right? What do you think? And he's just marching along. He's like very, very serious. And I'm like, no, really, I want to know. Like, what do you think of my hair? Do you think it's okay? Do you think it's too short? What do you think, right? And he's marching along. He's not saying anything. And finally I said, no, really, honestly, man, I really want to know. I mean, look at my hair. What do you think? Do you think it's okay? And he just bursts out laughing. He goes, God, that's what my mother always asked me, and I never know what to say. And then he looks at his friend, and he goes, you know what? Let's go home. And they leave. And I walk in and everyone's cheering. They're like, wow, what did you do? And I said, I just asked them, how do you like my hair? And, you know, so when I left Scientology, I wrote it up to Mike Rinder, who then was the head of PR and has now left. Good job, Mike, if you hear this. But he had left, and, I mean, he was in at the time, and I wrote it up to him saying, I'm leaving Scientology forever, because I'd worked for him. And I said, I just want to let you know, one of my big successful actions is asking that guy up in Sacramento, how do you like my hair? And, you know, it was just a very funny thing that, you know, but again, people are people. And when you treat them like people, not like Martians, like you saw a bunch of you, I'm not sure on the whole world yet, I haven't seen all the videos, but I know here in LA, those guys were definitely Martian-like. You know, they're just standing there, you know, they're the guards. You know, it's like, come on, snap out of it. I mean, we saw Dan Renan, who was in the old videos with Mark Bunker, and I knew him. I used to work with him. I'm like, Dan Renan. He walks by, you know, very seriously. And so usually Scientologists, most of them, they don't have them there. The ones that they do are really volunteering, working with OSA. Or, you know, there's some way briefed about it and what they should do and what they should not do. And the rest of the Scientologists are not there. If you ever pick it and they're in there, just like we did the other night, they're all hiding inside. That's what they do. They hide inside. I was on course once, and they literally stood out in the hall at 6 o'clock and said, no one can go home. We have an emergency briefing. Everyone has to hear it. And I said to the supervisor, it's 6 o'clock. We have to go home. No, you know, everybody has to hear this briefing. And I knew at that point somebody was outside. It might have been one person, it might have been two people, but they wouldn't let us leave until they could get rid of that critic. That's how much. And see, that's because they're based on fear. And they're based on secrets. And if the people knew the secrets, they wouldn't stay in the Truman Show, would they? And it's a lot of money, the whole thing. So it all boils down back to money, right? If they find out the truth, they're going to walk out and leave. They're not going to spend their money. I mean, look at Tom Cruise. I mean, I'm sorry, John Travolta. He just gave $1 million to handle the critics. Nancy Cartwright just gave over $1 million. So you have to remember, this kind of thing for them is two things. One, they're going to use it for fundraising, and they're probably going to nail most of the people in Scientology saying they need to donate to handle the critics, right? So it's a big money maker for them. They'll pay the PIs for it and a few other people, but a lot of it goes to them, which the people don't know. The other thing they do is they're going to use it for what they call safe pointing. And I've been talking to Atlanta about this, about talking to people in your community, and everybody should be doing this, educating them on what is anonymous, why are you guys speaking out against the Church of Scientology? You know, get people that are, you know, people that are well known in the community on your side, okay? I have to take this phone. Have a good day. All right? Hello?